Hi everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. I have been working on my spring and summer decor, and I went thrift store shopping last weekend and I found some bumblebee things. These are wooden cutouts. They're made from like a 2 by 12, whatever size that is. Yep, this is 12. No, this is 9. So probably a 2 by 10. This is 9 inches wide on the big part. I'm not quite sure why it's cut in sections like that. It was just wrapped in plastic with no directions on it. So I think I'm going to start by gluing this together. And this is going to make a really cute addition to my bumblebee display. And then I have this little one too. And the wings come off of the little bumblebees, so I can paint them and then glue the wings on. And this one has the front of it separate from the back piece. So not 100% sure why that is, but I'll probably paint the back part black and then go ahead with yellow and distressing on there to make it look like a hive. And then I'll glue on the little bumblebees. So for right now, I'm going to put the bumblebees away, and I'm going to start by gluing this together with some wood glue. You can use hot glue, I suppose, but I just feel like this should have wood glue on it, and it's going to take a little while to dry and be ready to go. So I'm just going to spread it around. There must be some purpose for this being in sections, but not having the directions as to what craft this was made for. I don't know what that something is. So I am just going to glue it together. It's all cut from one piece. Maybe it's so you can scrapbook paper onto each individual piece. I don't know. I'm going to lay this back so that it stays flat. Okay. And then this is just the super glue wood glue from the Dollar Tree. I love this wood glue, and it comes in little containers, so it's not going to dry up before you get a chance to use it up, or at least use most of it up. No, it goes this way. Oh, yep, that matches. No, this is cut from a different piece. It doesn't quite match. Okay, just going to rub my finger to get the extra glue out of the corners and off the back. And I'm going to push it together. Alright, once it's dry, I'll sand these a little bit, maybe put a little, actually I don't think I need to put spackle on it because I'm going to want those divisions in it. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and while that's doing its thing, I'm going to go ahead and paint this back surface to be black. I'm going to paint the edges and the back yellow and brown and whatnot to make it look beehive, but this surface right here where this is going to glue to, I'm going to paint it black so that it shows there. Again, I don't know what the purpose of all of that is, but I don't need to paint a lot of the area. In fact, I can probably just rub my finger on there and have plenty of it painted black. No sense in dirtying another brush dirtied enough of those this week. I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in the color Maize, and I'm going to go ahead and paint around here. This is going to look so cute. I mainly just want to get this hole painted yellow, the opening, and then I'm going to grab my heat gun, and dry this up a little bit. So I mainly wanted to get this opening here painted so that I wouldn't have to try to paint it on without messing up my black spot. So now that that's on, I'm going to grab my wood glue again. And I'm going to spread it around. I think I got a little too much on there this time. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue it down onto the front. Again, I'm not quite sure why I've got all these things in so many pieces. There must have been a purpose, like hollowing it out for a jewelry box or something. I don't know. But I'll take it. I'm happy with it. Just get it glued on there and it'll all be good. Just clean up the glue. I just want to make sure that I keep the bottom level because I want it to be able to stand in my tiered tray. Okay, so that's what it's starting to look like. And I need to let the glue dry before I go any farther on both pieces. So that's where we're at on that. All right, back to the honey hives, or beehives. Now, where I glued them together, they have dried, and I just took a sanding block and sanded where the edges were kind of rough from the raw wood, like around the cut on the door and where the seams came together. I just hit those with a little bit of elbow grease, and then we just need to paint this. And this one has been just the face of it glued on, so it's just ready to get painted yellow. So I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in the color Maize. And I'm just going to give these a quick coat of Maize all the way around. And it'll probably take a couple of coats. And that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and paint the inside of here yellow. I will probably go back and paint over it with black. I don't know for sure on that, but it's just what I'm thinking. But I just want to get some paint on it to start sealing the wood up, and then any additional layers will go on a little bit easier. The first coat always gets soaked into the wood and doesn't always cover real well. I did not worry about filling in the gaps where I glued it together with any kind of spackle or anything, because I'm going to be putting some lines and things on it to make it look like a beehive, and those seams will actually help with that. I'm going to lay this up on its side like this just to get this bottom edge before I stand it up. Okay, I don't think you need to watch me paint this for 2 coats, so I'm going to turn this off and I'll be back. Okay, I painted 1 coat on each of these beehives, and normally I would do 2 or 3 coats and go for solid coverage, but I like the wood grain showing through on these a little bit. It gives the beehive a little more texture, and so I'm just going to go with one coat on that. They will get a clear coat at the end, and so I'm not worried about protecting the wood. And then I took the bumblebees and I coated them with the same maize Waverly colored chalk paint. And then I decided I didn't want the bees to be the exact same color as the hive because I wanted them to stand out a little bit. So I grabbed some acrylic paint I had on my shelf. This is multi-surface. It's from Apple Barrel. Got it at Walmart, and it's called light yellow. Okay, and so I just did, I think it took 3 coats of this yellow to get a nice good coverage of it. Now I'm going to move these guys to the side so they can dry completely. And I didn't paint the wings that came with them because they're cut out of a different kind of wood and they're white, and I'm going to leave these the natural color because once the clear coat hits that natural wood, it's going to totally change up how it looks anyway. So now I need to add some definition to these hives and make them come to life. So what I have here is an empty bottle of Waverly's chalk paint, the antique wax. And once the paint was gone, I just added some water to it and I shook up the bottle. And basically the water washed off what was on the inside edge of the bottle. And so basically I have brown water in here. And as I finish it up, I just add another couple drops of Waverly wax in here and shake it up. And this way it gives me a very thin medium here to use that puddles into ridges. So this is going to give me a dark spot down in the ridge here and a lighter spot on the edge. And you can use a paper towel to wipe it off if you need to, and it's just a nice little medium to use. It's very forgiving. You can wipe it right back off because it is mostly water, and you can make it darker just by adding on more layers. It does take a little bit for this to dry because it is basically just water, and so you want to make sure you give it plenty of time. So I'm coming around the edge and I'm just going to kind of use the lines that are here to give my beehive a little definition. And this water wax will soak in to the chalk paint that's there. Now it will work with acrylic paint, but it works better with chalk paint. And I'm just going to hit the extra little bubble lines that are on here. And then I'm just lightly going to drag my barely wet brush across this in lines. Just wipe off most of it. I'm just trying to get some line definition on here. I don't want like big solid lines. I just want them to kind of be a suggestion of lines so that I get that texture. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same across the top and down the sides. Where these lines are too dark, I'm just going to wipe them and blend them in a little bit. Just trying to get a little depth and definition around the beehive. Then, if I want to do the back, I can, or I can leave it plain. And I'm going to go ahead and do the back. And back here, I'm going to take a little different approach. I'm going to kind of go rounded and along the bottom, just to make it look a little different, and then around the edges. Okay, so I've got 2 different looks. On the same beehive. Okay, so there's what the back looks like. And there's what the front looks like. And then from either direction on my tray, it'll look nice. Okay, I do want to buff this out a little bit. And if it's not coming off like you like, just add a little bit of water. I just have a little cup of water over here that I always keep handy when I'm doing this kind of stuff. Alright, brush it on, wipe it off, brush it on, wipe it off. That's how you get a weathered look. I'm loving how this is turning out. So that one I think is pretty much done. Now I'm going to lay this one down, and I'm going to go ahead and go across here where the seam is, but I am going to go ahead and make it a little bit rounded. The color on the edges, and then I'm going to go ahead and put color around the edge here. And I'm going to go ahead and make this inside of the hole a bit darker. Now I'm going to take my paper towel. I'm going to kind of blend these lines in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put some lines on the edge here. And just kind of get a little color going. Sorry, I'm not being able to see what's going on here. Right now this looks very messy, and it is. But I'm going to take my paper towel and muddle it up a little bit. I just want this edge to be a little darker. You could leave this all bright yellow if you wanted to. You guys know me, it's not my style. Alright, I'm going to let this wax layer dry before I continue on, just so that I'm not going to be muddling my colors together. Okay, so that's going to take about 15-20 minutes for it to get a good dry coat on it. While the beehives are drying, I'm going to go ahead and work on the bumblebees. I put the wings on and drew where the heads need to be, and so I'm going to paint those black, and I'm going to go ahead and paint the edges of the heads black as well. Oh, sorry, I'm off camera. Not worrying about the backs of the bees because they're going to be glued onto the beehive, so the back isn't going to be seen. I did think it'd be kind of cute to stick them on a wire, have them buzzing around the hive, but I think I'm just going to glue them on. Now, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to kind of draw where the body is, because I don't want to get stripes on the wings. We're going to start at the bottom with a little black stripe. And then we're going to put in a little stripe here. And I am just kind of dabbing my brush a little bit. I'm not really trying to brush it. I'm just kind of, well, I am brushing a little bit, but little tiny strokes, because I kind of want them to look a little fuzzy. Okay, so there's that one. Just barely even touching the body with the brush. Just making sure that my brush is well loaded with paint and just barely touching. Okay, there's that one. Not going to overdo these, because if you do too much, then you end up not liking it in the end. Okay, so those need to dry. My beehive dried, and I'm just not really super happy with how this side came out, but I do kind of like this side. It's real simple, and I think this is the side I'm going to go with. So the first thing I'm going to do is glue my bumblebee wings on, and the wood that this is cut out of is very pale, very white, and I like the contrast of the white wood with the yellow for the wings, because it makes it look kind of translucent like a bee's wings really are. So I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on the wings. I'm going to line it up on the bee cutout and press it down. That bee is done, and now I've got to do the same with the little bee. The little bee has the same wood. I'm pretty sure they're from the same company. I got them at a thrift store. They were wrapped in plastic, but they didn't have any brand names or anything on them, so I can't even look them up to find more. I tried to look online to see if I could find something similar, and I couldn't. All right, now I'm thinking this is a little plain, so I've got this scrap of jute rope, and I'm thinking I'm just going to tie a little bow on this with the jute. As you know how we wrap the plant pots to make beehives, I just thought tying a little bit of jute on here might kind of bring that around. So get a little bow made up here, figure out how big I want my loops, and then I'm going to cut off, and I'm going to put a little dot of glue underneath the bow and pull it right down where I want it. And I'm going to pull the tails too. And I'm going to put a little dot of glue here, because I just kind of want to pull this rope down and make it kind of rounded like the line of the beehive is. Just so it kind of looks like it belongs there. Okay, so I think that's kind of cute. My tails are a little too long though. There we go. I don't know, I think that looks kind of cute. I think that just adds to it. And then I need to decide where to put my bumblebee. I can put him down here. I can put it up here. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put him right there. Yeah, I kind of like him right there though, going into the hole of the hive. I'm just putting hot glue on the back, sticking him down, and boom, this one is all done. I think that's going to look cute up on top of my cabinets with some of the lemon and other honey things that I have in the process going on. Okay, now for my little one, I love how this one turned out with that grooved wood on there and the dark antique glaze that I made. I'm not going to tie any bows on this one. I'm just going to add my little bumblebee to the side. And push it down, and voila. This one's going to go on a tiered tray that I have kind of on the shelf that kind of separates my living room and my dining room area. And so I thought this would look really cute on that. All right, there you have it. My painted bumblebee hives, or honey hives, or whatever you want to call them. I got really lucky finding these little craft kits at my thrift store for $1.50 a piece, and I think they turned out so cute, and they're going to make a really cute addition to my bumblebee collection of stuff that I put up for the spring. Let me know what you're thinking about these projects in the comment section below. Is this something you might go out and see if you can find something similar, or even just cut a beehive out of some wood? This is like a 2 by 6 thickness. You could get a 2 by 6 and print a picture off of the internet and use that as your pattern, or even just freehand and draw it yourself. This one was in 3 pieces, and then this one had the shape, and then the front piece was separate. Okay, so let me know if that's something you might tackle making for yourself for your bumblebee collection. Alright, if you like this project, please give it a thumbs up. That helps my channel to grow. And let me know what you're thinking. This has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.